Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839 in Richford, New York, as the second son of William and Eliza Rockefeller. In his young life, he had a passion for music and often dreamt of a career as a musician. In an early age, he showed a remarkable talent for numbers and detailed accounting. He attended Chancellor University and graduated with honors. Immediately after his graduation, he wanted to enter the workforce. Rockefeller's first job was an assistant to a bookkeeper. He worked long hours but never complained because he liked it so much. Believe it or not, in the beginning, Rockefeller donated a good percentage of his fortune to charity, but then his partner, Maurice B. Clark, and him started getting greedy, and they started investing together. Once they earned enough capital, they constructed an oil refinery called the Flats with the Clark brothers in 1863. The refinery was commercial oil. It was new and too expensive for the common man, and therefore a demand for a cheaper means of oil was needed. In 1865, he bought out the Clark brothers and became more heavily involved in the expansion of railroad and took advantage of post-war prosperity and westward expansion. John married Laura Spellman in 1864. Together they had 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy. By the end of the Civil War, there were only 5 oil refining centers left in the United States. Rockefeller was the first to establish Standard Oil. Shortly after that, Rockefeller's refinery became the most profitable in Ohio. Eventually, Standard Oil became the most preferred and widely used oil in the country. Rockefeller was striving for complete control over the oil industry. He did this by purchasing competing refineries and constantly improving the efficiency of his refineries, making shady deals, creating investment pools, and weakening his competition to purchase them out. In just 4 months, he was able to take over 22 out of 26 of his competitors. The way he would do this was first by offering them to buy out any old number he would just pull out of their head, and then if they declined the offer, he would just lower his prices to a price that no one else could beat, thus putting the other company out of business. Rockefeller thought he was getting away with all of his monopoly until the battle between the Pennsylvania Railroad and Standard Oil. They were fighting over the control of oil refineries and pipeline. The railroad relinquished its holdings to Rockefeller eventually. However, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania accused Rockefeller on charges of monopolizing the oil business. Various states then proceeded to question the very same practices, and it very quickly became a national issue. The company's large empire contained 20,000 domestic wells, 4,000 miles of pipeline, and 5,000 tank cars, and more than 100,000 employees. Its shares of the world's oil refining reached just above 90%. By the early 1880s, the Rockefeller reign over all oil was coming to an end. He passed his crown to the overwhelming amount of foreign competitors. Their new finds ultimately deteriorated his control. Then the Sherman Antitrust Act was passed, and this was a huge threat to the company he still had. The first step to further destroy the trust was made by the state of Ohio, which used its state antitrust law to forcibly separate Standard Oil of Ohio from the rest of the company. Rockefeller died on May 23, 1937, of arteriosclerosis in his home in Armand Beach, Florida. Although Rockefeller did what seems like almost anything just to make an extra dollar, he also did have a huge career in philanthropy. It was estimated that his fortune funded hundreds of charity organizations all throughout the majority of the 20th century. His reputation, both good and bad, and what he did to mold the industrial age will always live on.